All right, so today we're going to dive into a Q&A with some of the meatiest best questions that I have been asked over the past couple of months. And while it's hard to answer everyone's questions, I've tried to pick out a few that are from different categories of questions. So the first question is really geared towards what I do with my daughter. Now, if you have been watching my channel, you know I have one daughter. She just turned 7. And this is about what I do with her clothes and toys and whatnot. So my daughter is a collector and she loves everything that she finds outside, whether it is just a rock, a toy, or anything in between. She has an immediate, I love this reaction, right? That was me, so I get it. But what I like to tell her is that in her room, she has some drawers. She has drawers she pulls out. She puts her favorite toys in there. Basically, all her toys fit in there, except for her stuffed animals that go on her bed. But if it explodes out of that area, then it is time for us to get together and kind of assess, hey, do we really need all of these paper towel holders? Do we really need all these old rocks we found outside? Is there something that either we could do with them right now to use them up, or are the rocks maybe could go in a different place? And so if you have a very specific area where your child can keep those things, whether it's a box, shelves, when you have specific homes where things like toys have to go, or you have a little treasure box where your child can find and put their favorite things, just like us, it's a trigger for them to know that maybe I have too much stuff, but also as the adult, and we're also working on this probably ourselves at the same time, it's a good time to carry on that conversation and just be like, hey, I see you can't fit all your favorite things in here anymore. Are there anything that we can maybe readjust and either get rid of, give to somebody else, move away from that area? When it comes to clothes, I'm extremely blessed with my mom, who's extremely generous, and my mother-in-law. They are such a blessing to us and often will buy clothes. But what I do have is in her room, she has 2 of the drawers from that IKEA piece of furniture, which I'll see if I can link it below, if I can find it. It's one of the classic IKEA pieces, but 2 of the smaller drawers I use for her clothes. Tops and pants go in one drawer, and everything else like socks, underwear, and whatnot go in another drawer. And then after that, I just have a set. I bought one set of hangers. I think maybe between like 10 to 15. I haven't exactly counted them, but if I get too many clothes to fit on those hangers, they don't stay out. Now, my daughter is not going to wear black and cream and navy like I am, right? So she wants all the colors. And at her age, she doesn't care about matching things. I don't care. I mean, it depends on the parent for sure. And if we're going somewhere really nice, I try to guide her. But honestly, I don't care. If she's happy, we're happy, right? So she has a very colorful wardrobe, but it's confined to those 2 drawers and that one set of hangers that I have. And when we start getting too much, I might take them, put some of them in a basket if I know they're going to fit the following year. Maybe they were a little too big, but if not, then I'm ready to go ahead and let them go. I have tons of people, luckily, that I can donate them to. But knowing that, once again, you have a direct space for those things, and once it starts exploding out of those things, you know it's time to declutter. That's always kind of helped me without having to do an exact capsule wardrobe for my daughter. Okay, I'm going to try not to be this long-winded about every question, or we're going to be here all day, right? So let's go to the next one. All right, so capsule wardrobe. Oh, you'd love to see my garden tour. I will do a garden tour one day. Hopefully, if you guys don't know, a little backstory, we have been looking for a new house, and there's a couple reasons why. Really, this house is too big for us, honestly. I think it's 1,800 square feet, and there are 3 of us, 2 dogs. For me, I don't really need this much space. But that's not really even the main reason. My husband works as an assistant principal and is in a different district school from where we live right now. If he was to get another job and be principal, which is something he really wants to do next year, if it is not in his school, he has to take Carrie Ann then to a different school. And we absolutely adore our friends and school family at the school she's at right now. So I really don't want to do that. So that's really one of the big draws, is in a perfect world, we'd be able to stay at this school. And if there is a home that is in our budget, that's where we'd like to go. So I'm going to try and do a garden tour. If we end up moving, you're guys gonna have to see it from scratch, but I'll get there and I'll show you some pictures when it's not so rainy today, though I'm sure my plants are loving it. Let's see. Oh, have I ever considered a plant-based diet? And I have. It's not that I haven't. I think that for me, the main thing that I try to do, and please know I have no medical background whatsoever, and this is just what works for my body. What I found works the best for me and makes me feel the best is when I do intermittent fasting. When I got pregnant with my daughter, I gained like 60, 70 pounds. At the end, I stopped weighing myself. So honestly, it could have been more than that. But having her at the end of August, I was just like bloated, full of water, slash everything else. But it was awful. And what I found that over that next year and a half, basically, I started doing intermittent fasting. I started with like 12-12, where you eat for 12 hours, you're off for 12 hours. And that was a good introduction. And then I moved into like 16, 16-8. And that's kind of where I sit. Sometimes I do even more than that. And honestly, I feel like it helps me with some brain fog problems that I have. Having ADHD, I often will get very distracted and very forgetful. And I find that actually when I do intermittent fasting, for me in particular only, it helps my brain. So I don't do any specific diet. I definitely have read a lot about plant-based diets and I am interested in them. But no, I don't do it at this point. That's really the only thing. Intermittent fasting is really the only thing that I incorporate on a daily basis. All right, you guys have great questions here. Okay, so another one about my meal planning, my shopping list. So, okay, I live right next to an Aldi, and Aldi generally has the same things over and over again, right? So I don't even have to make a shopping list anymore. I just kind of know this. We eat the same things all the time. So I generally, like today, I have to go, hopefully it'll stop raining, and I'll go to our Aldi and I'll just get some of the fresh fruits that we enjoy. We tend to keep to like strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, occasionally apples, occasionally bananas. I'm not a big banana person, so that's for my husband and my daughter, but those are the kind of fruit we like. And I'll do things like pasta dishes. My husband is Italian, so he loves a good pasta dish. But something that my husband and I have tried to introduce and be better at is just making sure that we have some kind of fruit and vegetable at every meal that we eat and that we eat that first. It doesn't always happen that way, but that is something that we have been more cognizant about adding into our diet. All right, you guys, keep asking the questions. Let's see. You want a full house tour? I'm redoing my living room, and I just got something big new that is actually awesome. And so I'm going to be introducing that very soon in probably the video right after this. And you will see how I'm redoing my downstairs. But yeah, so exciting things to come. And then let's see. How long did it take you to really see a difference once you started decluttering? Ooh, great question. So I really started decluttering I always loved decluttering my clothes. That was never the problem for me. I had way too many clothes, but I could always kind of declutter and get rid of them. When I finally said to myself, probably after like a year of decluttering my house, my whole house and my wardrobe, I finally really felt a big difference. And I felt a difference slowly over time, but my husband, I remember him coming in just being like, we had been at a friend's house and he's like, wow, yeah, like that was anxiety inducing. Like, I really like our home now. I like the way it is. And it was so validating, right? When finally, like somebody who's been, well, he was always very supportive, but somebody who wasn't decluttering with you finally is like, oh yeah, you do a great job. Like, I'm so glad we live like this. Amazing, right? I still dream about this moment. But I would say that was after about a year. And if you don't have as much stuff as I had, then you will notice it a lot quicker, probably. But I had a lot of things to declutter, a lot of rooms to go through. And what I noticed is that it would slowly feel a lot better. And it wasn't until I really started using a lot of the rules that I use now. Asking myself questions if I really need it. How often am I going to use something? Could I replace it easily if I needed it again? When you start asking yourself some really serious questions, whether when you are decluttering or when you are buying things, you just you stop bringing in so much, and that was a big problem for me. I was decluttering, but I was bringing in 10 times the amount I was decluttering, so you never really saw a difference. But honestly, probably after a year. Let's see. So do you ever feel like you're living inauthentically, having to record things all the time? I always wonder if content creators truly feel authentic to their lives, or maybe a tad forced, knowing they have to pull out camera equipment to record themselves doing regular things. Girl, I feel you. I understand. I understand what you're talking about. I think that's why I don't like constantly do decluttering videos. And I did a lot more probably in the beginning than I do now because I don't declutter very often. Like if I was to videotape myself every time that I took one thing out of the closet and put it in the bucket near my door, you guys would be bored out of your mind, right? Like it would be really boring. But I think in the beginning I did feel kind of inauthentic. I think mainly because it was scary. And I got people that would say mean things. I always say in my mind now, I'm so used to, well, people actually don't write a lot of negative comments, but when they do, I always find it surprising that people feel the need to say something mean when I'm and other minimalists we're trying, like when you are decluttering in your house, there's no one there to say, oh, wow, you failed. Like, that's awful. You might be saying it in your own head and you have to fight yourself, but it is hard hearing other people say things like that. And then you're like, well, am I really a minimalist, or am I really sharing the right content? And honestly, I feel like now this is so much of who I am. My family, my friends come over, and sometimes they make comments about my minimalist house, but it doesn't bother me because I know that honestly, this is the best I've ever lived. And this is the best I could do for my daughter. This is the best thing I could do for my husband. And if we're all happy, it doesn't really matter. Some of the best advice I ever was given was by this woman I used to work with. And she said, it doesn't really matter what people think about you if they don't eat at your table every night. And I think that really helped. Like if you wanted to start a YouTube channel, that mentality really helps. Because if you are giving your all as a content creator and you are trying your best, then it doesn't really matter what other people say at the table if they only have negative comments. And sometimes negative comments are good. You can take some of the things that they say and improve. But if it's just to be mean, then no. Usually I just delete those ones or, whatever, move on. But yeah, really good question. I think you can become very inauthentic as a content creator if you are constantly trying to portray someone that you're not. But this is just who I am. I'm, strange. I say words wrong all the time. And I really don't mind if you guys correct me. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'm just ridiculous most of the time. But, honestly, that's how my brain works. So no, this is just who I am. Okay, let's keep going. Love your channel. You probably already have something like this, but maybe how do you go about styling your house? It's so pretty. It's so pretty. Aw, thank you. Also, what do you guys like to do for fun? You mentioned traveling a bit. Okay, so aw, thank you so much. How do I style my house? Well, I had to get off Pinterest. As a former teacher, I loved Pinterest. But I think I style my home with basically colors that are calm or colors that are outside that I like. As somebody who likes gardening and I like to be outside, I just find that grays and greens and browns and just natural colors are calming to me and I guess are relaxing to me. And so really the biggest color that I have is in my dining room, and it's like a navy blue. And I really like, blue is still a natural outdoor color, right? It's like a stormy dark room, right? But I just like living in a very calm space. I think I don't even know what my style would be called, honestly, because I just kept taking things away until I felt peaceful. And that's going to be different for everybody. I love the comments that say that, they're going to take some of what I'm saying and some of it didn't work for them or apply to them. And that's really what this channel is for. I mean, all I can share is my own experience, right? Like, these are the things that help me. And honestly, just taking a lot of stuff away. I think I heard it from the minimalist mom. And then I realized that I had been doing it for years, but hushing the room really helped me. I just didn't realize that was what it was called, but I would take everything out of the room and then I would just live with it for a little while, like all the decorative stuff, and slowly bring it back into the room. And that's how I got rid of like basically all the stupid TJ Maxx stuff that I had bought and put on all the shelves um, that are in front of me. But I just realized that sure, they were pretty. Like, I bought nice things. I have great taste, but they just weren't something I wanted to look at all the time. And it was just another thing for me to dust. Girl, if you know anything about me, I cannot stand to have a bunch of things to clean. That was the biggest anxiety inducing part of my life before I became a minimalist. And I was constantly overwhelmed, but also constantly buying more things to clean. And so it was just a vicious cycle of feeling like a failure. Like I couldn't keep my house the way I wanted and I was failing. But when I finally decided to really start getting rid of a lot of decor, it was so life-changing, I guess. It's so easy to wipe my shelves off now. It's so easy to clean the things that I have. That even when it's like a terrible week, which we have, like my husband broke his wrist probably a month and a half ago. And things got overwhelming. We left a bunch of stuff out. Things were crazy. Things were not where they were supposed to be. But give me a good 30 minutes, 45 minutes, the house is back together. And so that's my style. Lazy, I guess you would call it, but I don't like to clean things. And so simplify. So before I keep going, of course, I have to say, if you want to join a very supportive minimalist group that is going to cheer you on your decluttering journey and help you to stop buying those things we don't need, then hit the subscribe button and join Minimalism here. But also, if you're already decluttering here with us, then please throw a heart emoji down below. It just lets us know that we're all in this together. But let's go to the next question. So let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Oh, you love to know. So the sweater that I was wearing in one of my last videos, I think it was my like capsule wardrobe video. That sweater is actually from Anthropologie. I don't know if it's still there because I got it from a thrift store. I can't believe someone actually donated that sweater though, right? Gorgeous sweater, but it's probably a few years old, probably not there anymore. But if you wanted to look it up, it's Anthropologie brand, which is one of those stores that I like to walk around and look at things, but generally don't buy them. But it is really cute in there. Okay, so question. I have a certain sweater okay, so this is another question. I have a certain sweater for 15 years. I absolutely love it and it's cozy and people always compliment it, but it's old. It's starting to show its age, but still great. Should I let it go? It's been seen by everyone who knows me and is so many people and in so many photos, and that's usually a sign to me to let it go. Thoughts? So you guys actually wrote her back a couple of different things about making it into something else if you really can't wear it. Oh, getting a sweater defuzzer. If it's fuzzy, if that's why it looks old, that's a good one. Desiree said that to you. That is a good one. I've even tried using a razor and like razoring, which to me worked kind of just as well. I don't know, but to get the fluffies off if it's looking bad. Honestly, if you love it still and it's cozy, I wouldn't get rid of it. But that's a hard, like, I can't say that for you for certain. Trying to think if I have anything similar to that. I mean, the closest thing I can think of is like the orange sweater. You guys have seen, if you've seen my other videos, I have an orange sweater, orangish brownish sweater that I really like. Um, it is really old. I got it and it was old, and then I've worn it for several years and really enjoy it. And I actually had talked about getting rid of that sweater and decluttering it. And then once I got down to actually putting it in the bag, I just realized that I really liked it and that I can't replace that one that easy. So like answering those questions in our head about that kind of stuff, like, can I replace this easily? No, I don't even know where this person got it in the first place. And, unless that company is really selling that sweater still with the same quality that it had before, you can't always easily replace those kinds of things. And so if it is mendable, then mend it. I mean, often I have, fixed old pairs of pants and shirts that I really enjoy and cut things off of them when I didn't like them anymore and just kept wearing them. Because if it's something that you feel like can have more time to last, but also you kind of weigh like, if you were to give it away, probably they wouldn't sell it again, or somebody wouldn't get the same enjoyment out of it as you would. I think it's people have been talking about like underconsumption and just that's going along using up the things that you have. So if you're still enjoying it, keep it. If you're not, then let it go. It's okay to let things go. I am not the kind of person that I try to do under consumption because I use up what I have, but I'm not going to hang on to something that I am absolutely not liking and hating just because I think that's kind of the fine line for me. Being more knowledgeable and being more acquainted with yourself and your needs can help you to underconsume. Using up the things that you do enjoy as much as you can help you to underconsume. So we're not constantly, buying things, mainly as Americans, overbuying things that we don't really need. But at the same time, especially when we're going through the decluttering process, not just hanging on to something just because, but being able to say to yourself, I made this mistake or this was a wrong choice for me at the time. I know better. I'm going to do better next time and then move on. That's kind of my philosophy, but we're not all the same. I get it. Okay, so let's keep going. And let's see. The thing I struggle with the most with people who buy things for my house or want to buy me presents and I don't know what to tell them. I get it. I bought a 4-cup coffee pot for my house for Thanksgiving because I host and I know people like coffee. I get packed away in the Thanksgiving bin every year. My mother-in-law recently purchased a Keurig for my house, so it's there for when she comes over, which isn't super often. And again, I would have to put it away when she leaves. We are water drinkers in my house and we don't do coffee. We don't even really do tea. But I think my biggest thing is I don't know what to tell people I want as a present because telling them nothing isn't good enough for them. And I still end up getting something like a candle, which I don't really want. I get that. So I think on this comment, I actually wrote that I was going to do this video and answer this question. So maybe you saw that. But okay, so with my husband's family, my family in particular are not big present givers. Obviously when we were younger, yes. But now, my grandparents will sometimes give us money, like for Christmas, they'll give me and my husband money, which is so sweet. That's always helpful. But my parents aren't super gift givers. My mom will give me stuff like for Christmas and all, but usually it's actually really helpful things like soap, wash rags, like things that I go throughout the year. And so by Christmas, I know I'm probably getting soap and wash rags. And so I'm going to be restocked, right? So I don't mind getting that kind of stuff. But when it comes to Jordan's family, they are so generous. So like that is their method of showing their love. And so I really try to respect that. But we started using something called Gipster. I think my sister-in-law, Sam, and started this whole thing several years ago. And it's actually very helpful. So my birthday is coming up October 9th. So October 9th, you guys want to send a shout out? That's my birthday. But It's great because I've had some things on my mind that have been on, my list of things that I'd really like to get. I wanted to get new curtains for downstairs. I wanted to get a new water bottle because mine got stolen at my daughter's birthday party. But I digress. I wanted to get some stuff for my YouTube videos, that a new microphone for my YouTube videos. So things that like I could go out and just buy right now if I've been thinking about them, right, for like a month or so. But because we have this Gipster app, when you go on there, you just put what you're thinking about. So it's actually kind of nice because throughout the year, you could even use it just for yourself if you wanted to, so that, when your birthday or Christmas or whenever your family is giving you gifts, you already have this list of things and you can be like, hey, I have been thinking about these things for a long time. Here's my ideas. But the other great thing about Gipster is that you can all share it. So we're in like a family group. And so anyone in Jordan's family can see what I would like. They also see when it's already bought. So I'm not getting like repeats of things, but you're actually getting something that you really need, which is very helpful as you get older. I at first didn't super love it because I really like surprising people with stuff, but at the same time, I don't want to give people a bunch of things they don't actually need. That's not me anymore, right? So um, you can also just put on that you want a gift card at this website. It's free. They are not sponsoring this at all. So thank you, Gifter, but you're not sponsoring us. So anyway, it's a great place to start if you're really frustrated about gifts, and if it is, a group of people that are in the family, just mention it. It's a great idea, I think, in my opinion. Okay, so Julia said, I actually rearrange my old indoor plants constantly at least once a month, and I move them with their stand, shelves, and lamps. And most of the time, the results aren't satisfying. So this cycle repeats again and again. Julia, I'm there for you. I get that. I started selling some of my plants. Hopefully, I will get to the point where I have just enough plants. Girl, yes. I didn't know you could sell plants. I guess you could sell anything, right? Like, shoot, I buy a nice plant secondhand, get it cheaper. Okay, so I guess what I've done is I've had a lot more plants. I've had less plants than I have now. I think right now I'm kind of at a stage that I'm pretty happy. The majority of my plants are in this room, which I have 3 in here. And that's because this is the room I use the most. And so I enjoy looking at them every single day because I'm always in this living room. But also I found it has great lighting, so my plants tend to live, which is great, right? And because I'm looking at them all the time, I'm constantly reminded, like, they need to rotate, or I need to dust them, or things like that. I found that when I had plants in every room all over my house, I was overwhelmed. Just me in particular, where way my brain works, I was very overwhelmed by having to, go around and water everything, dust in all these different rooms for my plants, so that I was really feeling like they were being loved and taken care of the way I wanted to. So, I mean, you could try putting them all in a room. I know my grandma's a huge plant lover as well. That's probably where I get it from. And she tends to have almost all of her plants in one room. It's a lot, but it is beautiful in its own way. I mean, plants are gorgeous, right? But putting them all in one room and then really deciding in that one room, are they too much to take care of? Because if you can't take care of them in one room, most likely you're not going to take care of them if they're all over the house. So that kind of helps me. I have one upstairs in our bedroom, but honestly, that one gets less taken care of than the ones in here. So that one has to just be happy with getting the attention it gets. Right? Okay, but that's a really good question. I mean, I think that goes for a lot of our decor. I think a lot of us can relate to that. I really wish that I could answer all of these questions. Believe me, when you ask me questions, I think about them, but I just don't always have time to answer them. But yeah, they really help me when you guys ask questions. They really help me think through my actions. Okay, so the next one says, I got rid of bins and bins of things I saved from my childhood. Last year, I realized that these things made me sad, even my journals. I got rid of so many things that I once thought were precious. I knew they were meaningful to my 2 kids, I knew that they were meaningless to my 2 kids, so I threw all them out. I'm still mourning the loss, but I feel it was necessary in order to move forward. I'm not sorry about my decision to throw it away, but it has changed how I feel about the time in my past. It's been a hard journey. Oh, that gave me goosebumps. Um, Honestly, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. There's only a few things that I've actually kept from my past, from like childhood. I don't have any toys. I do have books. I have about maybe 4 or 5 books that I got as a child. And those I think I'll probably keep for the longest time. Maybe if Carrie Ann wants them down the road, she can have them read to her kid, because that has been really a special thing for me to be able to share them with my daughter. Also, what I found is that I found books that I read as a child that were really special to me, but my mom didn't hang on to them, and I just bought them again and read them to my daughter, and it gave me the same feeling. So honestly, I don't know if I needed my mom to keep those books, no, but I've just bought a few of them again, and we enjoy them. But I think a lot of times we hang on to things like journals, like um, pictures from our past, and like I've talked about my grandfather's keys, and I was hanging on to a lot of them. And um, yeah, keep the ones that are making you happy. Keep the ones that you want to keep out, and that um, remind you of the good times that you've had, or remind you of special moments you've had, or reading with my mom and grandma those books, and they bring good memories. But hanging on to every little thing just because it's attached to your past, not necessarily going to bring you happiness, and not something your family is going to care about in the future. My mom gave me a big box of things when I probably moved into this house. I was an adult. She'd hung on to them for a long time just because we moved a lot. And yeah, I think I have like this handful of books that I keep in Carrie Ann's room. She likes to read them. And then I have um, one old journal that she has now written in, which is hilarious. And maybe like 1 or 2 things that I've kept that were special, but the rest of the box I've just let go. It didn't mean a lot to me. And that doesn't mean that these things are meaningless. It just meant that my mom was ready to let them go. She was done with them. And then I got them, and I just didn't have that attachment that I think she thought I was going to have. And so that's really why, like with my daughter, I've showed you guys this before, but I have this book that has every year of her school. And in the book, it has one slot that you can put like pictures that they did. And the fun part to me is that on that page for that year, it has, what was your favorite memory, or what was your favorite field trip you went on, or who are your friends? And that's the part I like. Because like we were even talking about it at the beginning of this year. She went into second grade, and we were talking about what she remembered about first grade, and we went through everything. So it was just a fun experience to have. I don't know if she's going to want that in the future, but for me, I'm enjoying it. So that's enough, right? And then I have one box about this big. It's in my daughter's room that has some sentimental stuff that I kept from when she was a baby up until she went to kindergarten. I think it's kind of like decor to me. If you keep tons, nothing is special, or you don't know what's special because honestly, you have so much. But it's when you get down to those, things that, you look at them and you smile and you have great memories, and you remember like really, really good times with them, then sure, keep those. Like have a space for those. But keeping everything is just, sometimes it even makes you just sad. And that is not where we want to be, right? That's not going to help us move forward. So really, thank you for sharing that. All right, let's keep going. So it says, what a wonderful video. Thanks for sharing your heart with us. I think these emotions are shared, are a big reason why people simply cannot declutter. My number one emotion I experience is regret. I am so upset with myself for years of spending frivolously. I was in a job that adds so much stress to my life that the only way I could counteract that was to buy things and eat out with my husband. Looking back at how much we wasted doing these things makes me sick to my stomach. Today, I resigned from my stressful job, and while looking for another job, we are living on half of our income. I get that. I think a lot of us feel that. You are not alone. You are 100% not alone. I felt that too. Um, Even with teaching, there were, the last couple of years, absolutely adored them. First couple of years were so hard, but I had some wonderful humans I worked with. But there were 3 years that I worked at this one school, and it was not the kids, but the adults, besides my friend Karen, who I adore and love, made me miserable. They were miserable human beings who could do nothing except for make other people miserable. And I stayed there too long. And I remember thinking, after I finally left, I wasted 3 years of my life being miserable. How sad is that? This is the first 3 years of my daughter's life. I was so miserable. And there's nothing I could do to please those people. Like they just decided they didn't like me, and I couldn't do anything about it. Except for leave, which I did do. But it's like sometimes, I don't know, I guess life is 2020, or, we think back and we're just like, why did I make those choices? But in the time, I thought, I have my one friend, there's a couple other cool people there, but, so I'll survive because of that. But it was so miserable. And none of us deserve, because of money, because of our spending, because of our addiction to stuff, we get stuck in things like that and we feel like we can't move. And that's really sad to me, because I feel like a lot of us go through that. I feel like a lot of us are there. I think that Tara, a lot of us are there. And honestly, I'm so glad you found that out and you moved on. What I have said to many of my friends that are in the same kind of boat and stuck in a job: stop buying new cars. Stop trying to upgrade your house. Stop buying the new furniture you don't actually need. And just for that little while, cut back until you feel comfortable to leave and find somewhere else. Because whatever skills you have are valuable. You as a human are valuable. But if we spend all of our time and energy on buying stuff that we, in the end, don't really want, because we have to clean it, take care of it, work more hours to have it, that's not where we really want to be, right? Like, I'm so grateful that I learned that lesson at the age I am now. Sure, I wish I learned it in my 20s. Wouldn't have been so miserable for those 3 years. But I'm so glad I learned about it now, so that, I feel like, yes, I, want a certain amount of comfort, right? I, enjoy the comforts that I have in my life, but I would rather have my lovely old car out there and be able to do a job I really thrive at and enjoy than getting stuck somewhere because I have to keep keeping up with whatever. And that doesn't mean, to me, what I like to say is that money flows in and out. Money will come back. Money will come back to you. And, keep inviting it back in, because we all need it to live, right? Unfortunately, that's where our society is. We need it to live. But when we don't play smart with it and we constantly are living in a scarcity mindset because we're spending so much money, and so then we have to keep working so hard, and so it always feels like there's not enough around. There's tons of money out there. You are so worth it, and it will come back, and it will come back in your life when you decide that you are going to find the path that really is right for you, and you will be inviting in the good things back into your life. What you are doing now, being stuck in a job you hate, is living half of a life and being miserable, which no one, not even the people that made me miserable for 3 years, deserve to live in a miserable life. All right, so let's keep going. I hope that made sense. Okay. Allie said, I would love to see how you style your clothes for different situations. Example, for date nights, weekend errands, or family dinner, birthdays. I think it is super helpful when working with small wardrobes, and would love some inspo. I love when people say inspo. I don't know. You sound cool. Okay, so yeah, on a normal basis, I just wear my jeans and t-shirts. When I go out to like date nights, which my husband and I are trying to get better at, I will wear like the green dress that I took out in my capsule wardrobe video. I love that dress. It's so pretty, and I feel really pretty in it. I also really just like the sweater, the Anthropology sweater I was talking about. It's really soft and I feel like it's very flattering, so I'll often wear that out. But honestly, what I find is that a lot of my clothes can be dressed up or down. So, I'll add in my hoop earrings and I'll add in one of my, little gold necklaces, and I feel like it looks more dressy. I am not a super fancy person. I don't wear really fancy clothes very often. It's not needed in my day to day, and honestly, it never really has been. But when I do want to dress up, I have like one or two dresses that I really like. Actually, I borrowed a gold dress from my friend Jenny, and I wore that to this weekend. I went to New Orleans for my good friend Ellie's bachelorette party, and so I wore that there. But no, I don't dress up too often. But I can show you more of that. That's a great question, and I definitely can make a video about that. I love your channel and your message resonates so much with me. I've decluttered so much over the past 5 years. Now I keep buying organizing stuff for all the homes of all my items. I'm going towards minimalism, but I also keep replacing things for prettier, better ones. I want to stop, but I am hooked. It's like an addiction. My hubby thinks it's total waste of money and decluttering energy, and I agree somewhat. For me, it also feels like I'm fully putting things how I've always wanted it to be. And it feels so freeing. But every time I seem to have a new project, I seem to struggle with, is it good enough? And I would love your advice. Okay, so Alejandra, beautiful name, by the way. I was the same way. I mean, I don't think anyone here can judge you about that. Wanting to change things up for prettier things. I think it's more about, um, I think it's more about showing your husband that when this space, say like in your living room, is done, it's done. I think that is what really helped me and my husband. And now he doesn't question any of the things I bring into the house anymore. Like right now, I'm trying to make our like guest room, office room a little bit nicer, add a few things to it that I spent a lot of time thinking about what I want. I don't have, if you've seen any of my home videos, I don't have any decor in there at all. And it was really because I repainted the walls in there, and I just found that a lot of the decor I had was just because I had it. I don't know if you guys ever do that, but like sometimes I honestly didn't even know how I got half the stuff. I guess, sorry, hiccups. I guess people gave them to me, or I collected them from people that were getting rid of stuff. You know how it goes, like when we start collecting things, I don't even know where it came from. But so I had a bunch of things that didn't go together. So I get it. Like I wanted to get rid of that. And I did. I did end up getting rid of all of the decor in there and all the decor in my room. And what I found is that I'm finally at the stage now where I'm ready to put a few things back. And I think getting my husband to be in the place where he sees that I'm not just decluttering all that stuff and then bringing in a whole new big group of things. If you are being very cognizant about what you're bringing in and you have a good reason for it, I mean, depending on your husband, all of ours are different, right? What I have found is that my husband is like, okay, now this could totally not be you, but for me, for so many years, I brought in so many things. Literally have to drop my voice for that one. So much that my husband, especially like in the middle of all of this, I had decluttered a lot. I was really studying minimalism. I was really trying, and he knew that. But I was still bringing in things. And because we had already just, gone through all of this decluttering stuff, he was very nervous that I was just rebuying stuff. And honestly, he said the same thing to me. My husband said the same thing to me as yours is saying to you. He's like, are you just bringing in a bunch more stuff, or why are you replacing things that are perfectly good? And if I had a good answer, then I mean, we're still together. I guess it was fine. But I did find that leaving spaces blank for a while and um, doing my research, giving it the time, not just running out to TJ Maxx or Home Goods, which was my go-to all the time, but really paying attention to what I really wanted and buying it slow and keeping a lot of spaces just completely bare for a while. I think it kind of helped my husband realize that I was taking things really seriously. Oh, okay. So last one. Okay. I hope this video is, oh my goodness. You guys know I'm so long-winded and I'm sorry. I love talking to you guys. It's like therapy for me. So one of you guys asked what we do for fun. And that's actually a really good question. So you guys know I love to travel. If you watched some other videos, you know we love to travel. We've traveled all over, and it's so funny because I was talking about we might buy a house. Maybe it's a big maybe, but every Christmas the past 3 years we've traveled with my daughter somewhere, and the past two we've gone to another country. So 2 years ago we went to London. We actually took Jordan's parents with us. And then the following year, last year, we went to Italy for 10 days, took her all around Italy, showed her my husband's like homeland, but town his family is from. And that was super cool. So this year she's like, where are we going? What country are we going to? And we're like, oh my goodness, Carrie Ann. Like, I guess that's a great thing about having one kid. You can really just, it's a lot less expensive to go as a whole family to big places. But we are definitely talking about going to Greece. We usually like to travel around Christmas. What I've found is that, yeah, it is colder. You have to bring more clothes. But I just love traveling when it's not like peak tourism season. And I love just strolling around and getting like authentically what people are like on a day to day. And that's why we tend not to do cruises, or we tend to stay in like people's houses, like Airbnbs or whatever they call it over there. Sometimes they're called something different on a different website. But I love meeting the people and talking about places they like to go. Like when we went to Italy, we were in Naples, and a guy said he owned this apartment used to be his, and then he moved out. He kept it. Now he rents it out. And so he was talking to us about like all the places he likes to eat. And he was like telling us where we should go for breakfast and what we should be doing there. And it's just so great. It's like having a personal tour guide who can tell you everything, but somebody who is actually from there and has lived their whole lives there a lot of times. And so that's the kind of travel we like to do. That's not for everybody, obviously, but we are going to travel again, probably in Christmas, unless we find a house. And then usually my husband and I will go on some kind of trip together. Like we went to Copenhagen. That's where my friend Michelle surprised me. If you've seen any of those videos, I'm walking around Copenhagen and my husband's filming me. I didn't realize because he never films me. So yeah, he surprised me with seeing my friend Michelle who lives in Switzerland. But we probably will go somewhere. But besides that, what do we do for fun? My husband plays soccer. He just broke his wrist, so he broke his wrist playing soccer, so he has to take a break for a little while from that. I like to garden. I like to go on long walks. I like to hang out with my family. We like game nights. That's something my husband and I are really trying to restart. We had done them for a while, and then things happen. Life gets busy, and we stopped doing them. But I'm inviting friends over and doing game nights, or just doing game nights with my daughter, and just enjoying our life here. I live in Richmond, Virginia, and so it's just a really fun place to live. If you live here, there's a lot to do. We have a river we have the James River that runs through, so we like to go down to the river. We also have like science museums and art museums and all the fun stuff. And so it's just a really good combination of a lot of things. Very friendly people for the most part that I've met. And so we just like to go out, hang out with our friends, and enjoy the life here. But when you are spending a lot less on things that you don't actually need and able to have more time, you get to live a lot bigger. So that's my spiel about why you should be a minimalist. Anyway, this is to say, if you've made it all the way here to the end, thank you for watching. I'd love to know more questions. So if you have more questions, then throw them down below. But I always love talking to you guys. And this is probably one of the most authentic videos that I've made because it is very much off the cuff and just from a spirit of this is who I am. And I've really enjoyed being here and I really enjoy talking to you guys. But if you do enjoy learning about minimalism and you want more structured video on lifestyle hacks and things I do in my home, then go ahead and click on one of these videos right here and continue your journey. But I will see you guys again very soon.